Hello, and thanks for joining me. We're going to talk about the Sagittarian woman. Well, what can we say? I guess the first thing that we can say is this, is that she is the type of woman who, by and large, looks like she has just stepped out of heaven. She has an unnatural beauty about her. She has a gorgeous smile, and she has the most beguiling, inviting, and playfully seductive personality of all the women in the zodiac. She's a woman who loves her independence. She's a woman who loves her freedom. In fact, the Sagittarian woman, of all the signs of the zodiac, is the one who's most likely to end up unmarried. Not because she doesn't like men, and not because plenty of men haven't tried to talk her into marriage. It's just that she doesn't feel that she wants to have that type of commitment. Now, interestingly, the same can kind of be said about her family ties. Of all the women in the zodiac, she is the sign who has the weakest ties to family. She's happy to see them once a year or what have you, but she certainly doesn't want her mother, father, or siblings living in her pockets. The thing about the Sagittarius girl is this, is that, and you may well have heard, is that she's brutally honest, sometimes to a fault. Without any malice and without meaning anything of it, it's just that, should you happen to meet a Sagittarian girl at college, on a dating site, or through friends, and then be going out to dinner with her, she'll look at you across the table, usually with beautiful blue or brown eyes, staring at you and say, "Do you find that you get neurotic by being so short? Is that a problem for you?" And then when you've been taken aback, she'll then turn around quickly and say, "Well, being short isn't a problem. In fact, short men do very well in life. I mean, look at Napoleon, for example. He was short. And anyway, when we were walking here tonight, I noticed that we were about the same size, so everything works out okay." So in that roundabout way, she's actually complimenting you, even though it doesn't come across that way. And that type of communication style can be something that can get her into trouble in other circumstances. She doesn't have a correctness filter on her mind when she's talking to people. You don't want to ask her what she's been doing on those nights when she hasn't been with you, because she will tell you. She will say, well, I got 6 phone calls. They were all guys wanting to have a date with me, but I turned them down. And I did this. Well, that's information that you probably don't want to know. Or you might go past her condominium late one night, and go on the buzzer, and she'll call down saying that look, no, it's not convenient to come through at the moment, because I'm talking to a guy up here, and it's very serious. We've got to get something sorted out. Now, what she'll fail to mention to you is that the guy that she's talking to happens to be her brother-in-law, and she doesn't think that that's information that's something that would be useful for you to know at the time. So it can lead to all sorts of difficulties. She's a girl, I'll tell you this, that cannot stand being bossed around in public. Well, nobody likes being bossed around in public, but her in particular. Now, these cushions, put my arm on something, muscles are so large, you see, I've got to hang on to something to rest them. Not. She doesn't like to get bossed around in public, nor does she like to be bossed around in private, because I can tell you one thing about the Sagittarian woman is this. Remember, she's ruled by Jupiter, the largest planet. She's half horse and half goddess, so she's got plenty of strength. And if you propose to do that type of thing in private, she will give you as good as she gets and then some. So don't do that. And don't be surprised if she shows you the door. If there's any hint of violence, which there should never be at all, she quite rightly, properly, will show you the door and kick you out on the street. And then if justice has its way, all the real men outside will give the guy a hiding and give him an absolute belting. But the thing about the Sagittarian girl is she's a great saleswoman. She has tremendous charisma. If you're running a department store and selling perfume, then what you want to do is put the Sagittarian girl on the counter selling the perfume, because there'll be a sea of men, 3 deep, all trying to get to the front to have her spray a bit of perfume on the counter for them to smell while she'll be buying it for their girlfriends or wives, and at the time will no doubt be trying to get her number as well, which she won't give to them. She's a girl who want to do things which involve a great degree of spontaneity. For example, she's the type of girl who will get up before dawn, stand on the George Washington Bridge and watch the sun come up. Or she might do the same thing before dawn, climb up to the top of the wheat silo and watch the sun come up. Well, that hardly makes her the wildest girl in town, but sometimes people can get the wrong impression. And people do get the wrong impression. People have the impression of the Sagittarius woman that she's very unfaithful. She's not at all unfaithful. Once she has made a commitment to someone, that is it, and she will stay with that person, regardless of all the passes that are made at her by admiring males and potential suitors. If a relationship happens to break up, she has a lot of Jupiter pride about her. She is the type of girl who will cheerfully, almost, laughingly, fend off suggestions or questions from family members or friends as to what happened in the relationship. Isn't she hurting? Isn't she feeling sad? And she'll go on and say, no, she's not, and laugh it all off. But of course, deep down, she is sad. It's just that Sagittarian women, by their nature, put on this front for the rest of the world, which is one that says, I'm cheerful and I'm happy. She can be thought, perhaps then to be unsentimental, but she's not at all unsentimental. In fact, she will often be found crying in a cinema at a particularly poignant moment in a film, or crying over a particularly moving poem. Now, sexually, what is it about the girl? The first thing about Sagittarians is that Sagittarius rules the thighs and the buttocks. So she wants a man who gets involved in a lot of sport and stays in some sort of physical fitness, because she loves buttocks and she loves legs. I am having a shower again, the 5th one for today. Do I have to use the disinfectant again, or can I use soap this time? Now that, of course, was a bad example, but at least you get the drift. It might also say that when it comes to pleasing her, attention should be paid to her legs and to her buttocks. That's something that she really enjoys. The other thing about the Sagittarian woman is that they kind of fall into two halves. Of the 30 degrees of the zodiac that Sagittarius takes up, the first half of Sagittarian women are really quite playful. They want things which it's almost an extension, just a normal extension of life. It's not a separate thing, sex. It's like get up, have a good day, go out, see movies, have fun, sit around, have lunch, have sex, say something funny, put on a funny act or something, go and surprise me and do something stupid. Oh, there you are. Oh, listen, what's this thing for? What am I supposed to do with this? Yeah. Oh. Well, and what about these? And she'll love you for it. And that's the type of girl that she is. The other type of girl is one who is the other half, the later 15 degrees of Sagittarius, where it's the animalistic side that isn't interested in sex. And in that case, for her, sex is something that must be done. it's something, it's almost a health issue. It's almost something that if I don't have sex, it's going to be bad for my health. So I've got to do it just in the same way as flossing my teeth is something that I need to do. Having sex is something that I've got to do. And in some cases, there are some men whose stamina isn't up to it, who can find that a little bit difficult. Darling, I've just come in to make a sandwich. A sandwich. I just started to get a bit weak, so I thought I needed to get a little bit of sustenance. Well, okay, all right, I won't. I'm coming. And such men do exist. But for the Sagittarian girl, if they do exist, and that's one of the types of guys that she's with, I can tell you, she is going to start to get bored. The thing with Sagittarius women is this: they are very open, honest, and faithful, but if they get bored, and they can get bored easily, then they will move on to other things. They just won't answer the phone. They won't ever ring up. So they don't like confrontation. They won't ring up and say, do you know what? I'm breaking this off. What they'll do is just not answer the phone. But I'll say this about the Sagittarian woman in total, is that she is a gorgeous, unnaturally attractive woman that any man or woman, as the case may be, should be grateful to have, and is lucky if they do have, and they should hang on to them. Thanks for watching.